This last one's called Night Job, and it's kind of a reference to the work I do to make a living. There's a reference later on to a crack boy, which was I was working on a project about people on Skid Row, and I was talking with a guy down in Skid Row in Los Angeles, which is where all the homeless are, who was keeping control of a light meter and was trying to get you to give him a quarter or so to put in, not light meter, you could go on a parking meter, put the money in, so he would take the money because he could then take a paper clip and keep the money and you'd still get your time. And it's funny, I think about Kubrick, who never had a whore, never had to do a job he didn't want to do, and in the end of his life he ended up sort of in his house, afraid to go out, never really left London. And although I was a fan of a lot of Stanley Kubrick's work early on, late on, I thought he really was not that interesting, and I think it's because he never in some ways had to sell himself. But I think part of the process of being alive is to sell yourself, and it's a rationalization because I've had to do that. And this is about that. Night Job. I'm putting on the red dress, Ma, and heading back onto the trucker's lane to spread my legs, all hose pulled tight and bra that pushes me toward heaven, to do my due, and give a few the tired and poor a swim along this once pure shore. My closest pal, the crack boy down on his scarred fours, who sells the minutes on the city's parking meters just off Fifth at half the price. Negotiate. I know my job, for everything's negotiable, and what remains is that small moment in the hay where I must always give my heart away. And what's interesting was I knew I wanted to write about this. I was struggling doing a TV episode at the time when I wanted to be doing a movie. And I came to the last lines, is that small moment in the hay, which seemed great, a prostitute. But then the last rhyme came as a total surprise to me, which was where I must always give my heart away. I'm sure with prostitutes that's not the case, and it's a horrible thing, and I don't mean to romanticize it, but in my case, in some ways, I have to give my heart away when I'm doing any work. And I think in a way we gain as we have to sell ourselves, that we give our hearts away as much as we can. And I just discovered it while writing the poem, which is why I really like this poem a lot. Claptrap.